Greetings, fellow viewers. This is Chairman Capo of the People's Right Advocacy Platform, PRAP, and also the Vice Chair of the Alliance for Justice and Peace. That is a group of Ambazonian of 14 Ambazonian groups who have formed this alliance to pursue peace and justice for the former British Southern Cameroon. Fellow Ambazonians, it has been close to 2 years when we announced to you that we are mobilizing ourselves following the failed Canadian talks and the one that preceded the Canadian talks, that we need a new revamping of our campaign for our right of self-determination as a people. The Ambazonian struggle have gone through a lot of phases. At the peak of our struggle, that is between 2018 to 2019, before the COVID strike us and many things that has happened, we have failed as a leadership in the diaspora to help harness, coordinate an effective military campaign. That we started this military campaign in reaction to Cameroon brutal crackdown of the protests of our lawyers, teachers, and the consortium in Ground Zero. The banning of the consortium by then Laurent Esso, who was the Ministry of Territorial Administration head in Cameroon, we consider that banning as a declaration of war against our people's right to court to politically speak as one people. Since then, we have failed massively to be able to come together and speak as one voice. Even you look as far back as the Declaration of Independence by Siseko Ayuk, it was largely opposed by people like Ebenezer Kwanga and Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, who saw themselves as better leaders, better prepared for this struggle based on their pioneerism or longevity in service in this struggle. We have had a lot of challenges. Siseko Ayuk, who emerged as a leader that unified segments of our society that we could only imagine could join a popular up movement, was kidnapped in Nigeria, taken back to Cameroon, and that had led to a complete collapse of our struggle. People have come into the scene who have embezzled huge sum of money and embarrassed all those type of things. We have gone through a lot. What started as a nobleman cause have been transformed into gangs and cartels of kidnappers, admin genuine Ambazonian soldiers who are fighting for our freedom. It is in recognition of this change in the environment that I resigned from the Ambazonian Governing Council, which is not the only organization I have served. I started this struggle serving as a bishop in the Tigers of Ambazonia, leading the initial reaction on the ground in the fight in Manu, where we raised young men to fight and defend our villages from being erased by the Cameroon military. I became a chief propagandist. We ran the first Ambazonian television channel, the SCBC. I was one of the first board members in those days when we started this struggle. We walk our way fighting for our people. I remember we went to Nigeria to create the IG. I was a founding member of the IG and appointed as the ambassador of Siseko Ayuk IG to Asia and the Middle East. So I've championed our cause. I've put over 90% of our public engagement in terms of international press coverage of our struggle. I was the deputy defense chief of the ADF. I built the first anti-kidnapping squad in Ground Zero, fighting back against kidnapping for ransom, being very effective to push back to the Cameroon propagandist Konda titles and the DDR gangs. We have not succeeded to liberate our territory by force. We have not succeeded to have international recognition for the declaration of our independence. The Ambazonian we declared independent. We have failed to assert that independence which we declared, because along the way, Many things in this struggle have been triggered by internal rivalry, not by well-calculated policy. So, fellow Ambazonians, when we started the movement of the PRAP, the People's Right Advocative Platform, where I harnessed the network I have been working with on Ground Zero to build this new organization, to have a new look and a new outlook of our struggle. It was due to these shortcomings, which is not necessary credit to La République du Cameroon, but as issues that comes from our own internal dynamic. I promise our people we are going to engage Cameroon in direct negotiation. And I told you people that 1 year, give me this year, 2024, we are going to be able to speak in the right quarters in the United Nations where it really matters. Because like anything, if you have to go to court, you must file in the proper writ in the right court before your case can even be heard. In the beginning of this struggle, Tassan Wilfred, Siseko Ayoktabi, Atta Milan, and many of our liberators have been writing letters to the ICJ, to the United Nations, without having any response. We have done our research. I and my team, the executive, the vice chair, Dr. Gabila, my secretary general, Mr. Paul, and many other people within the cabinet, we have worked very hard to secure an international support for our vision for Ambazonia. The Cameroon government have been defeated as well. They started this struggle by dismissing our heritage and our uniqueness to be a people and assert ourselves and make demands along the right of self-determination. The head of state of Cameroon have surrendered publicly in France, where he was called upon by this millionaire, and he told the international audience that the Cameroon central government have tried to assimilate the Anglophones and have failed. The Cameroon government, in their own way, organized a grand national dialogue where they recognize what we stood for, that the people of the southern Cameroon have a unique history that warrants them a special status. Why those cosmetic solutions offered by the Cameroon government was not just to appease the international community, it was also our success, our in self-defense, and in our campaign to delegitimize the regime, effectively boycott elections, and assert our people's rights to determine their future and protect their identity. The recognition and concession made by the Grand National Dialogue did not address the real grievances or the root causes. It was barely cosmetic, as you know by now. We have never complained about the mayors. The Cameroon special status provide a public reconciliator that has no power over the actions of the governors and the duos and the gendarmes that we actually have problems with. In terms of bilingualism, a form of bilingualism that says English and French is equal, but somehow when there is clash in translation, the French have to prevail. That is still maintaining the type of bilingualism where that was an assimilation form against our people. The bench of the judiciary, they have made certain changes in the judiciary in Cameroon that we applaud, but it do not give us even the minimum expectation that the Cameroon government itself has promised the United Nations when we came into this union. For us to go forward, the PRAP have come together with other Ambazonian groups, entered into a cooperation agreement to cooperate and put together a common position that reflects a strategic roadmap for our people to attain and exercise their right of self-determination. We have made certain concessions, which is only right due to our failure to liberate our territory by force. Those concessions, some people have interpreted as us surrendering to La République. People have said that we are now reselling the special status. They said that Capo have betrayed the cause. And all of them were wrong, because you have seen what we have succeeded to do where all Ambazonians have failed. We have been able to access the United Nations, meet state parties to discuss our plight and push to them our right of self-determination in a manner which has succeeded. And for the first time, Ambazonian case and our plight have been presented in the forum for minorities where this case belongs, in front of the president of that committee, which come from the Committee of the Human Rights in the United Nations, which we as the APG have had a one-on-one meeting with him. And he has received a copy of the peace plan paper that propose a roadmap, step-by-step gradual accession to the exercise of our right of self-determination, which is ultimately what our people want. So for those who are saying that we have capitulated, we have surrendered, we have been bought, you just have to look at our presentation in the United Nations, because that is the real image we are showing to the international community of what we want, which is a roadmap to independence that gives us peace immediately. We want immediate relief because we have heard from our people who says that they want to go back to their villages. They want their rights, their life to come back to normal because of the derailment of the fighting on the ground, where genuine Amazonian fighters have become a pain in our society and a big security problem, even to our own people, to the extent that in most areas, people are now collaborating with the Cameroon military to fight back against our forces. You don't need to look far, but to look in Bamenda with the killing of General Rambo, the killing of General Weapon, and the weapons that were the vehicles and properties that were found in him. You don't need to look far, but look at the policies of Ayabacho, asking for taxis to change their color. We have focused our attention on pushing policies that punish our people far more than it yield any result for the people's in long-term interests. We are now at the verge of a total loss, where the trial of Ayabacho will conclude with our struggle being linked with crime against humanity. That will be a total loss scenario which we had warned our people. The peace plan paper is meant to save us. It's meant to protect our people and shield their aspiration against an impending total loss scenario. Those who have challenged us have failed to adequately make a case that we are wrong, and we have proven ourselves right. They don't have any alternative. Those who profess a zero-sum thinking of independence or nothing are now in the backseat. They don't have any roadmap, and they must accept this reality for the love of our people so that we can together walk this path. We have received tremendous support for this peace plan, and we are now ready to make our advance to move towards Cameroon. We'll have a big meeting here in Canada, and we are going to have some diplomatic exchange. We are going to engage, including France, to sell this plan for them, and including the Cameroon state, to sell this plan for them, to say that this is good for Cameroon. Cameroon is not La République as to say, because that Cameroon, as we see, is a union between two countries and two people. This is the right way to do. People like Martin Luther King, people like Nelson Mandela defeated segregation and apartheid, not by leaning towards the extreme and the core of nationalism, but by appealing to the conscience of their oppressor, which they could not defeat militarily. We are appealing to the conscience of Cameroon for one country, two people as a way forward and a guarantee to a pathway for our people to exercise their right of self-determination, similar to what Britain gave to the people of Northern Ireland and Scotland, and even the people of Quebec. And this is not a new theory even to the French government, because France itself has offered such deal with its territory abroad, giving them the liberty to run their own government, even have their own flag, and in some cases even have their own languages different from French. Why every Amazonian should be celebrating this big victory that for the first time our case have been heard on the record as Southern Cameroonians, as Anglophones in the United Nations, not a side event. This is the first time, this is a groundbreaking news. But there are always people that are motivated. I don't know whether they are paid people or these are people who are just trying to get YouTube views. But there are people that consistently go out there to sow disinformation and confuse our people and help the enemy in doing so. I'm going to play one of the reactions and to debunk and clarify this issue once and for all. There is this video of this guy who goes by the name Fabiano. I'll play the video and show you what is going on. And it's very important that our people understand these tricks and that they understand this manipulation. In introducing our peace plan paper and our diplomatic offense in the United Nations, I made a presentation to inform our people and to account for them.
Today I want to give you very important and
that presentation was now taken by this guy Fabiano and an old video that I produced on behalf of the Amazonian Governing Council to congratulate Paul Biya for accepting and signing onto a framework for negotiation in Canada was cut, an old video cut and attached to this recent video to sow disinformation and mislead our people by people like this who want the war to continue, who pretend like they love our people, but their main job, they are agents of darkness, agents to sabotage the possibility of peace and justice for our people. I want you people to listen to this video, watch it carefully, and you see the deception that scammers like this guy who is an ex-convict, somebody who was put in Kondingi amongst our political prisoners because of extortion, doing 419, based on information that we have. Based on information also from his colleague who were in prison with him. This is a scammer who have a very bad record in Kondingi prison. But that is not the subject of today. I want you to listen to what he's doing and understand that people like this, no normal human being, no logical person or reasoning or person who have reasoning should be listening to this type of scumbag like this. Listen to what he did.
Big information as part of our transparency and accountability to you, the Amazonian individual, peace in a just and fair manner to our people. Since we came
and I want to say congratulations. So I go explain this one for Pidgin because they target mostly now our people the way they not be educated and they not understand how technology they work. So wait till the boy do look the video. You go see say na two video then dey for this presentation. One, na my video where be the introduce for our people them. The idea say we don't go for United Nations. Then it take that video, go cut my old video where I be the talk on behalf of the team for Amazonia who will go negotiate for Canada. He go cut that part where I be talks say thank Paul Biya. When I remember say I be thank Paul Biya na for waiting. We thank Paul Biya na for signing for negotiate, agreeing to negotiate with Amazonia. And that was a very good move because it put Cameroon in a back paddle and facilitated the possibility of negotiation to take place. And we had very good reviews. You can see it was published in Cameroon newspaper. The whole Cameroon was happy. The Pope congratulated us. The United States congratulated us for that big move in Canada that was sabotage. I'm going to rewind and I'm going to see what he did do. So when I see this video, na different presentation, this one do he go at the end, he go cut the important part the one talk go take another old video, add them for day for mislead and misinform our people and for sow disinformation with the hopes that the one for spoil peace and justice for our people then as today for United Nations. On our worship.
Since we came
and I want to say congratulations to President Paul Biya. I want to say congratulations to the Prime Minister of Cameroon for this bold step.
Capo that it is surrender on a day.
So now the type of deception then this and lies and manipulation way angels of evil, Lucifer themselves, they spread them around our territory. Take all video, mix them to deceive our people then. Say Capo Daniel the surrender. As we know very well, any man where he get reasoning, any man where he get small brain, even common sense, small picking for primary school. If you see our presentation for United Nations, you will know say a groundbreaking presentation. But people like this who have no credibility, he has spent his time, every presentation he did for the last year was saying that Ayabacho is working for La Republique, ADF is working for La Republique. We know that Ayabacho is not working for La Republique. These are people who receive money from Ground Zero and are driven by their own ego. So even the fact that he may be bribed, Ayabacho may be bribed or be corrupted or misled by soldiers because he wants to show that he's powerful, he go and take soldiers that he doesn't even know what was going on. We all cannot lie, but this guy constantly lie, mislead our people with the hope to maintain a viewership, and I don't know, but what he does helps the enemy and acts like a dog of war. People want the war to continue, and he comes one time or two times, pretend like he's standing for our people while he's fighting against our people. Because anybody who stands for our independence, who stands for justice and peace, will be applauding the effort we made in the United Nations to take our struggle to this level. But we thank God, and like we said, the revolution shall not be televised. You look, people like Mimi Mefo of the Maurice Kamto opposition group, they can never highlight such progresses of our people, and we don't expect them to do that. We expect to fight for ourselves. Real revolutionaries will speak about what we are doing. And those who have been misinforming our people have been silenced by what they have seen in the United Nations. But we encourage them to embrace it and try to be patriotic and put Ambazonian first. This is a big step, and everybody, every genuine group should join the Alliance for Justice, for Peace and Justice, so that together we, we can secure a negotiated settlement of this war with the state of Cameroon, because we cannot negotiate with somebody else. We are asking our independence from who? From Cameroon. So we have to talk to them. So I'll play the reaction of this other guy who have a very wonderful platform, and it is worth noting his reaction to what happened so that you people can know exactly what happened in Geneva.
Some group of Southern Cameroonians successfully presented the crisis in Southern Cameroon to the United Nations for the first time. And they are calling for independence referendum for Southern Cameroon. This took place during the 17th session of the United Nations Forum on Minority Issue in Geneva, Switzerland.
So this is what happened, and una can hear this independent observer saying the truth of what happened. For the first time, our case have been presented in the United Nations. And what did we demand? The core of our demand is a referendum for our independence. That is the core of our demand. Listen.
The APG, that is Alliance for Peace and Justice, in the former British Southern Cameroon, it took the opportunity to voice their grievances to the United Nations. And they are calling for independence referendum. If this is
so you can hear from an independent person, you can read our submission, written submission of our speech to the United Nations that even has the logo of the United Nations, because automatically it is spread to all member states of the United Nations. They will have this document. They will hear us telling the world that our coming together for United Cameroon was an experiment. There is nothing there that anybody with a reasoning mind who will represent our struggle would say that this thing is compromised. No, this is the strongest case we have made. So all the concessions we made have enabled us to come to this position, to speak the truth and stand on the legal framework. To accept those concessions was not a betrayal, but was an opportunity for us to be able to speak in places like this where it matters and make our case heard in a proper way. Our denunciation of hostilities and violence has enabled us to have this access and to secure the support we have, which we could have never had without making those changes. So for those who think that we should just continue fighting with a gun, it will not lead us anywhere. Hostility will not. There is a limit to the success we can have with a gun. And when you exhaust that possibility of success, you have to now engage in other methods, change strategy, because we have exhausted, we have passed the peak of our military might and our military accommodation, and those peak was undermined by our very own internal dynamic. Nevertheless, we cannot just stay there and complain about Sarko's corruption and all those difficulties, but we have to move forward. So the People's Right Advocative Platform, with our partners in a cooperation agreement, who have formed this new organization, the Alliance for Justice and Peace, are moving our people forward to secure for them a future, to return peace back to our people, to return a guarantee for them to exercise their right of self-determination through the peace plan paper. And anybody who is genuine, who is reasonable, who is rational, who is a patriot, who love Ambazonia, who love our independence, should be embracing this approach, because the zero-sum thinking of independence or nothing will end up giving us that nothing, which is something that anybody who knows freedom, who love our people, who love the independence of our people, would not accept that zero-sum thinking in this environment, but will follow this path. Because if this path fails, it will be the only way that we can now regain the trust of our people and have sufficient international attention to be able to even prosecute a war, if that is the way things have to go. But we believe we have seen enough signs from the Cameroon state. We have worked them very well. We have engaged with them in Switzerland, in Canada, and we are sure of our approach, and it is bearing fruit, which you can see. So let's listen to the reaction of this platform, then we can move forward.
First time joining TFA Talking Point, please subscribe to our channel. And TFA Talking Point is here congratulating them, because this is what we have been talking about.
So they are congratulating us. These are genuine people. We don't expect applauding from the hardliners, but we expect them to take their time, due diligence, and to join the winning team, to join the people's team, to join the Ambazonian resistance. This is the real resistance. Those who have been derailed, who have been confused, they don't have any reason to say that they don't know the truth, because this is progress that you can clearly see, you can clearly measure, you can clearly weigh, you can clearly assess. So let's listen to this guy.
Ambazonia should change strategy, or Southern Cameroonians should join themselves together to write petition against or to the United Nations concerning the crisis in Southern Cameroon. And if this is happening, it is a breakthrough for everybody.
It is a breakthrough for everybody. Our petition in the United Nations, our submission, is a breakthrough for everybody. Every genuine Anglophone Southern Cameroonians seeing these wordings in the United Nations system, with our meeting with the President of the Human Rights Commission in the United Nations, will lobby, and we have now the right partners who are competent to help us to lobby and push our case to the international community and gain support, so that when we meet Cameroon, we are sure that the Cameroon will know that this thing is supported and is something that they should bow to. Cameroon have bowed to international pressure severally in this struggle, and we have seen them succumb in the Grand National Dialogue. We have seen them accept to negotiate in Canada and Switzerland, even though they back out. But we saw that they could be broken, and we are sure that for the sake of humanity and even for the fatherland, Cameroon will do the right thing, and the head of state in Cameroon will do the right thing to engage in meaningful negotiation and to continue for us to look for a path and sit down as a people to forge a path forward, a path that is based on trust, that is based on respect, mutual respect, so that we can now live in one country, two people, guaranteeing that the English people have the right that they are due to. They are due. This right is for us to have the right to access our right of self-determination if we see fit, and it should be guaranteed with a timeline. So these are the basis for which we seek to negotiate. These are the positions to which we want the Cameroon to accept to engage in any meaningful negotiation. So let us listen to his reaction.
The chairperson of the APJ, that is Alliance for Peace and Justice, a Professor Asongo, proposed a framework granting limited autonomy to the Southern Cameroon, and then also calling for an independence referendum by 2030. And
so these are the propositions that was submitted by Professor Asongo, who is a very noble man. He chairs and leads the Ambazonian Liberation Movement, which used to be called the Coffin Revolution. That is a movement that had been created by Mancho BBC before he is arrested, and had predated even the consortium, predate even the SCACO and the IG. It is a strong movement that is part of this alliance, and the leader there, Professor Asongo, have been elected as the steering committee chair to represent the collective will of the Ambazonian groups that are in this alliance. Professor Asongo is a pioneer. These are the brain box that have championed through legitimate means the pursuit of our right of self-determination, including suing the Cameroon government in the People's Court in Africa People's Court in Gambia, where we won a landmark justice that reaffirm our people right as a people. Professor Songo is the person who designed our Ambazonian flag that you carry. So if you are going around saying you are Ambazonia, put the flag first. This is the person who put that flag first. He's a reasonable person. He was somebody who have engaged and studied this thing and have accepted the responsibility to chair the committee so that we can, in a transparent and accountable manner, push for our public interest, for our independence. So we facilitated the history was facilitated by our international partners, and in doing so, he gave up a lot to put himself in that pot. He gives up a lot, and our people should appreciate that. So these are the things that can move us forward. These are the things that are moving us forward, and collectively we must enhance and support what is right and what is good. That is our call and our appeal to everybody. Let's conclude here.
When he talk about a limited autonomy to Southern Cameroon, he is talking about where Southern Cameroon will be able to manage local governance, education, economic development, healthcare, policies, and provide a framework for a referendum on independence by 2030. And this is exactly what TFA talking point.
So it shows you our immediate remedy that we demand through this framework if we successfully and the Cameroon government accept to be the basis for negotiation and a way forward. Number one, all of our political prisoners, not everybody, those who sign up to the peace plan paper, which include denunciation of hostility and an engagement to pursue our right of self-determination through legal means only. All those political prisoners who sign up to the peace plan paper will be released with an amnesty. All our refugees and our IDPs will fall under a program that this document has proposed, which is an assisted return program for them to come, a program that will be jointly managed by the international community, our separatist movement, and the Cameroon government in a committee that will be created. They will be able to come back and raise funds. We will be able to raise funds internationally. And trust me, we have had already pledges for in countries and even companies in South Africa and even in Cameroon who have pledged to support such an endeavor if it do come to fruition, so that they can build their house, build schools, build roads. And if you look at the Cameroon's idea of a presidential plan of reconstruction, which received huge support from the international communities, but the Europeans refused to support it because they wanted a negotiated settlement. The Americans wanted a negotiated settlement. It will give us a tremendous possibility and even an incentive for the Cameroon government to say, what do we have to lose? This is a good deal to take. Our refugees will come back. Their houses will be rebuilt. People's houses who have been burned will be rebuilt. We will have a reconciliation committee led by religious leaders where accountability for all crimes committed on both sides can be accounted for, so that families who have lost loved ones will have answers. Graves will be exhumed and buried properly, and our forces in Ambazonia who have picked up weapons for a just cause should be compensated and reinstated and incorporated through our community municipal police, fire brigade, and forestry guard, territorial force. This will be very good deal for the Cameroon government. It is highly supported. It also proposed for our own economy to have an international status where we can do business with foreign partners, directly engage with foreign partners, even with the approval of the central government. This interim period, we are going to experiment Vivo and Sam, or what we call live together, and see whether the Cameroon government will live up to its promise, leading up to a time where we will go into a referendum in a later date that we have proposed. That is still subject to negotiation. So we are refining these documents, the small groups there, like the issues concerning the House of Chiefs, where we have proposed that we have 2 chambers of House of Chiefs, with the paramount chief being able to make decisions, because what you have right now, The paramount chiefs are not able, there is no way that they can make any decision. They just go there, have parties, enjoy money, and go back. It is not an effective institution that is backed by civil service that can help them to carry data and even to implement their policies. We want a joint legislature where our people can exercise. They say we are special, we are Southern Cameroon, so let us give them a single legislature where we can enact laws, not just sit down to talk and share money, but legislature that is empowered and endowed from devolved power from the Cameroon Constitution to be able to institute laws in certain areas. We want to have a ministry or a secretariat, as we used to call them in Southern Cameroon, West Cameroon, of education based in our territory, not separate from the one in Yaoundé. Maybe they have find a way to have a commonality with the one to Yaoundé, but we want it based in our own territory. We also want that to in other exclusive jurisdiction in other segment of government, which we have articulated well in this peace plan paper. It's a 15-page document, but we have it summarized for easy comprehension of our people and also for selling it to our people and our international partners in a 2-page document that will be released once signatories have been assembled, and we'll continue to engage. So fellow viewers, fellow patriots, we call on everybody who love peace and who have seen this war of shame transform itself into a scar that history will look back and be sad, to look at the suffering of our people and listen to the voices of our people, and to look on our identity that is at the verge of complete destruction because of Zoroastrian thinking. And remember how people like Ojukwu in Nigeria, who led the Biafran War, they fought and they went through hunger and long suffering. And at the end, they realized to make certain compromise to safeguard themselves and have a peace deal with Nigeria. Ojukwu Michael is considered a hero in Nigeria for making that decision, not somebody who surrendered or capitulated. No, in this type of war, there is nothing like surrender. There is the people's interest, the people first. Ojukwu did the right thing. Nelson Mandela, by not insisting of creating a deep state or separating the black and white in South Africa, but insisted on a rainbow country. People might thought that he was betraying his country, but he knew his people best, and he knew the effect of continuing that zero-sum idea, what will become of his people. History have judged him well. Martin Luther King as well was seen as a betrayer of calling for a dream where black and white will work together. Fellow Ambazonian, that is where our victory lies. We cannot in this era succeed in military victory against Cameroon given the international geopolitics, but we can appeal to the conscience of the Cameroon government and its people for a way forward that will give us a chance to have a new social contract, a mini constitution for our people that will guarantee their rights, and institute a framework where that rights will be enhanced, protected, so that the grievances we have suffered for the past 60 years can come to an end. Cameroon is going to be our neighbors, our Francophone brothers. We have intermarried. Look at our history, look at our music, look at our young men growing up today. Those of us who have bought Cameroon, Ambazonians who have bought house in French Cameroon, those Francophones who want to come to live in Nimbe and raise their children in our own society. We can live. The Canadians have found a way to live together with the French people in Quebec. In Belgium, all over Europe, there are many examples. Even in France, the territory abroad live in peace with them. This is the right way forward. And we call on all of our people to forget those statements that were made by people who are distractors, who are not rational, who base their own talks and their own campaign on lies, misinformation, and distortion of what we represent. And for you to stand on the truth. You know the truth now. You know what we stand for. You know what we represent. You know our political calculation. So we appeal on everybody to come together. Let's do the hard work to fight and win the peace. We cannot lose the war and lose the peace. Let us fight to win the peace. And together we can build and secure a better homeland where our culture can come back home. Our diaspora can visit their home in peace And we can see our striving cities in Kumba, K-Town, Buea developing, Muliku, My 14. We can see our farm thrive. We have so much potential. Let us not waste it and lose this opportunity. Like we say, we don't lose an opportunity, we lost an opportunity. But so help us, God, to make this dream come true for our people. A dream that will start in a journey of one country, two people. A bilingualism that even the Francophones will be proud of, where us in the English area can conduct business in a language that we prefer. And English should be the dominant language in our Anglophone zone and French in the Francophone zone. Is that too much to ask? No, it is definitely the right thing to do. God bless you all.